no guarantee that if you get a civilian lawyer, you get a good result. I mean, it's just like with anything else. If you hire the best brain surgeon, there's no guarantee that your brain surgery is going to be completed successfully. On the other hand, if you hire someone who just graduated from medical school and you have them cutting open your brain or your children's brain to do surgery, the odds of failure go up quite a bit. I mean, experience, there's no substitute for experience when it comes to being a trial lawyer or being a doctor. You know, another thing that people do is when they're looking for a civilian attorney, obviously cost is a factor that they look at, and that's reasonable. I mean, if you're looking for a car, an attorney, or whatever, cost is going to be a factor. But you have to be very careful with choosing an attorney, a specialist in military law, and you choose one based solely on the fee. You got to be careful, because sometimes you get what you pay for. You know, if you go to the cheapest plastic surgeon and you want the best nose job, well, you're kind of rolling the dice. Just like if you go to the cheapest attorney and you get to the point where price is a factor that you have to consider, because some people just don't have the resources. But if you go with an attorney that isn't that experienced, that doesn't really charge the amount of money that other lawyers of the same quality are charging, bottom line is, if you choose an attorney solely based on what their fees are, then you could end up in a situation where you have an attorney that doesn't have time to spend on your case. Perhaps the lawyer isn't that good. Maybe they are, but that's why you need to look at the fee has to be considered, but also the experience, because you could spend a couple $1,000s on a really bad lawyer and get a much worse result than you would get from the worst military attorney. And if price is that much of a factor, then what you may want to do is just consider interviewing several military attorneys that are on active duty, or asking for 2 military attorneys to join up, because a lot of times they'll do a better job than some guy who's, you know, out there peddling his criminal defense services for a very low fee. Another thing is, it's very expensive to actually try a court-martial case, because it requires a lot of preparation, it requires a lot of office support, it requires investigations, it requires time. For example, when I go to do a case, I'm often gone for the entire week, and you know, I'm devoted solely to that case. On the other hand, I come across a lot of lawyers that they charge a couple $1,000s, and they basically plan from the beginning on pleading you guilty, because the fee they charged you could not support them going all the way to trial. So, and you should also, when you meet with an attorney, another thing is, when a lot of military suspects meet with their attorney, the attorney starts talking about a guilty plea from the very beginning. We don't do that. As a matter of fact, we try most of our cases. And the reason is this. In the military, you're often, in my experience, you're often better off in front of a military panel. The panel comes from different ranks, different backgrounds. They're mixed sexually, racially. You have a broad, diverse group of individuals sitting in your judgment. They judge whether you're guilty or not guilty, and they also judge what your sentence should be, versus one person, the military judge. If you choose to go with the military judge will determine your guilt or innocence, and the military judge will give you your sentence. That could be problematic at times, because if you go in front of the military judge, in my experience, you're very likely going to be convicted. It's very likely that you're going to jail. It's very rare for a military judge to not send someone to prison. And you're very likely going to get kicked out. Again, it's very rare for the military judge, after he finds you guilty, he or she finds you guilty, to keep you on active duty in the military. Now, some judges will, but with military panels, we find that you have, under most fact patterns, a better chance at trial. You have a better chance as far as your sentence goes, and the military panels tend to be more reasonable when it comes to giving someone a dishonorable discharge or determining that they could be rehabilitated. I find the military juries think, and rightfully so, that the average military service member that's accused has some potential to be rehabilitated. So sometimes they'll give you a combination of jail time, hard labor, extra duty. Sometimes they'll fine you. Now, sometimes they'll kick you out and send you to jail as well, but we prefer to take our cases in front of the military jury. We have a better success record that way.